Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for another episode of Foundation Fest, and today I'm going to check out via a sample the Everyday Great Skin Foundation from Beauty Pie. I've talked about Beauty Pie on this channel before. They are a company that makes private label skincare and cosmetics and things, and you pay a subscription fee to gain access to their members' prices, if that makes sense. So, for example, Ziva's climbing my window screen right now. Apologies for the noise. The foundation here, if you are a member, it is $19, and if you are not a member, it is $47. So paying the subscription gains you access to the membership fees. Now, I was a Beauty Pie member for over 3 years out of my own pocket. I know they had a big blitz where they had a bunch of influencers doing videos for them. Those were big influencers, not little old me. So I was a member of Beauty Pie because I paid for it out of my own pocket. And the only reason I quit was I kind of bought everything I could try, and I'm a person that needs to keep using different products to review for this channel, so I don't use up a lot of things. So I had a ton of product that I, used for 2 or 3 months to get an opinion of it, and then I had a ton of stuff. So there wasn't much else I could buy, and I let my subscription lapse. I figured I'd wait a year or two until they turn over some products and maybe there'd be more stuff I could buy, and then I would join in. So I'm glad I got my hands on a sample of this because it's the kind of thing that makes me think, maybe it's time to go back. We'll find out, won't we? I love their skincare. Everything I tried in their skincare, I absolutely loved and would highly recommend. Their makeup was more hit or miss for me, so we'll see if they can pull off a complexion product. But let's take a look at what they have to say about it. I count 21 different shades. Their swipey thing on the app is kind of hard to count, but I think there's 21. This is an ultra-futuristic lightweight foundation infused with high-tech micro-pearls for a melt-away feel and a natural matte finish. This medium to full coverage formula delivers enviable soft focus radiance. I just got caught up on enviable. That was I don't think I've seen that in a product description before. Good one, marketing team. Subtle light tricks for sculpting. I like this. I like whoever's writing this. No caking, no pigment overkill, just an even, stunning finish. Fragrance-free, oil-free. It is cruelty-free. It is vegan. It is clean. This particular one's made in Italy. They always tell you what country they're sourcing from in all of their products, and fragrance-free as well. So that is what we're going to start out with. I think I'm going to try... The shades in this sample are all very similar. They go from 75 vanilla to 300 beige. I think I'm going to do 100 ivory. Looks like the cool toned of the bunch here. It looks like it might be a little light for me, but 150 shell looks too yellow. So we're gonna go with 100 ivory. So let's take a look at 100 ivory swatched against a few others in my collection. Swatch time. First up is today's foundation from Beauty Pie, the Everyday Great Skin Foundation in shade 100 Ivory. Second, I've got from Estee Lauder, the Double Wear Stay in Place in 1C1 Cool Bone. Third up is MAC Studio Sculpt in NW15. And last, I've got from Wet n Wild, the Tinted Hydrator in Fair. I've already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened this 48-year-old face. Now, in their instructions, they recommend applying this directly over your moisturizer. So whenever a foundation explicitly says anything about moisturizer, to me, dry-skinned me, that says extra moisturizer. So the one I've been keeping on my vanity lately, Jones Road, it's the oil-free moisturizer. I've already put some on. I already had moisturizer on from my skincare routine from like an hour ago. But add a little bit more because, whenever they point out moisturizer, I like this one because it sinks in to the skin without any dry time waiting for absorption. You know, it's not like my skincare that has to sit for 20-30 minutes before I do my makeup. This is very fast absorbing, it's super lightweight, and I love it for summertime, and it's been a great vanity moisturizer. Like, the one that I put on an extra layer when I'm doing something like this. So because they specifically said moisturizer, I specifically applied a little extra. Let's try and get these samples out, shall we? I know, you just saw the swatches, but in real life, I don't film the swatches until after I'm done with the video, so I haven't opened this thing yet. It's a pretty good sized sample. Hopefully we will have enough. We've got a damp sponge for one side, my BK Beauty 101 for the other side. Let's dig in, shall we? Maybe this won't be too light for me. Let's find out. Let's start. Oh, well, that's a little bit light. It's a little bit light. Now, on the packaging, what is this smudge of dirt on my nose? On the packaging, they mentioned a luminous finish, the packaging of the sample, but on the website, they describe this as a soft matte. So, I think this is in the territory of the whole thing where people keep using the word luminous and it no longer means dewy. Like, it used to mean dewy. Like, that was kind of the word for dewy. But it seems like now, luminous is almost more often referring to, like, a skincare effect over time. This really didn't make those kind of claims, so I don't know what they mean by luminous. If they mean matte, if they mean satin matte, if they mean dewy, I don't know. I'm guessing matte because this looks a lot more matte to me than dewy. Very sheer application with the sponge. They say this is medium to full coverage. So let's see if that rings true with the brush side. Don't mind my little friend down here. I had a little milious spot, and then my cat scratched me right there. So it's a combination skin issue plus cat scratch. And, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is definitely more coverage with the brush. For sure. It's not too light, really. I thought it was going to be too light for me, but I think it's not. I think spending the summer in Ireland, I don't get really any sun when I spend the summer in Ireland, and then I'm surprised that I'm as pale as I am in the wintertime. Although I know I got a little bit of sun because I do have a watch band line on my arm, but I'm not as good about applying my sunscreen on my arms as I am my face, so, you know, take that for what it is. Alright, yeah, definitely more coverage with the brush. It is clinging to just texture, and I don't really have much going on in terms of like flaking skin. Maybe I do, and I don't know it. No, it's not flakes. That's actually the foundation. It's a little cakey on my nose, and it's a little bit just sitting on top of the skin here on my cheek, but let's keep rolling with this, and let's try and build up the other side to be even. I think it's definitely a brush kind of a foundation, not a sponge kind of a foundation. Let's try and even this out a little bit. With these foundations that have sort of a dry texture to them, even upon application, this is not very emollient. I prefer to like stipple it in rather, stipple and like press and, like, what is that word? It's like stippling. I like to stipple them in and not try to aggravate any lifting of skin that they might get caught on, like little flakes or texture or anything like that, whether it works or not. This is one of those things where, this is the textured side of my face, and it is exceptionally smooth looking right now, but my nose looks like a cake factory. So, and like this whole, like, this little patch here is just like clingy cakey. And this little patch here is gorgeous. So this is kind of behaving like I would describe a typical full coverage matte on me, which is some areas are going to have that nice airbrushed look, but a lot of areas are just going to look cakey up close, and like you're looking straight at the product on top of your skin. Oh, I just touched my nose and like all the product disappeared. It did not stay on my nose. We might have transfer issues. We'll find out, because I will definitely be blowing my nose later. You know how that goes. Let me zoom you guys in and get a good look at this. Yes, coverage with the brush, right away medium. So barely seeing any of those sunspots poking through. It is kind of like clinging to sort of... You know, it looks speckly on my cheek. It looks speckly on my nose. It's cakey a little bit on my chin. It's not really giving smooth coverage on my chin. But like some parts of my face look nice and smooth. Actually, my forehead looks surprisingly good for a matte. I do see some of the micro wrinkles that I've kind of got that are accentuated when I have a drier texture of foundation on. You know, that's where the luminosity of a dewy foundation helps to plump up those micro wrinkles, and you don't see them as much. But you know, that extra like moisture that's part of a dewy finish. So, you know, why did I sound like I'm on Fargo just now? That we're kind of in a mixed bag situation at the moment. We're just going to have to see. Now, sometimes the cakiness of a full coverage foundation like this, as it warms up to your body temperature, if you do have any kind of oil production, it will sort of all melt together. I generally don't produce a lot of oil on my face, so there's a limited opportunity for that. We'll see what happens. Let's check the time. The time is 2:04 p.m. Let me put the rest of my face on, and I will be right back. Back with the Beauty Pie foundation. Powder's blended just fine on top of this. I did not set it with powder. It kind of dried down to its own sort of powder soft finish to it. It has kind of locked my forehead lines in place. And actually, now that I'm looking into the camera, I'm not a huge fan of how my blush is blended, but this is probably just user error and not a foundation situation. You know? Yeah, there we go. We're looking better. Today I am wearing the Charlotte Tilbury blush and bronzer. We've got the bronzer in shade 2 and the Cheek to Chic blush in Pillow Talk. Yeah, that's a little better. I think I just did not blend it enough in that little inner front part of my face. On the rest of my face, I've got the Creme Shop Hello Kitty Halloween eyeshadow palette. It is a super fun color scheme, and the undertones of the mattes are gorgeous. It's just a little bit weak in the formula as far as the pigmentation goes. You do have to build it up a bit, but if that's what you're going for, because you don't want to over-pigment yourself, it's really nice. I did film doing this eye look. I think it will be probably after this video. Keep an eye out. I did film it, and I do love this color combo. So life is good there. I am wearing the Jones Road Brow Gel Lawless Forget the Filler Gloss in Rosy Outlook, which it's just a hint of pink, but I think it's mostly clear. And the Charlotte Tilbury on my face. So that is what I am wearing. I am going to go get a sandwich. I have so much to do today. I can't even fathom how much I have to do. And another gloomy day. It looks, right now, it looks like nighttime. And it is 2:45, so it is not nighttime. But hopefully I'll get a daylight check-in for you. I think the shade's just fine. You know, these are daylight balanced lights that I'm under in the studio, but sunlight, of course, is the most true version of daylight. So I do try to get outdoor daylight check-ins, but boy, it's dark outside. We'll see, we'll see. I'll get you a check-in anyway, then I'll come back tonight and give you guys my final thoughts. Hey guys, it just started raining, so I'm going to try and get this really quick. Shade match, I think we are good. Up close, this has a little more luminosity than it seemed to indoors. It does still just look a little dry and a little heavy, but not terrible. Oh, it's starting to rain harder. Let me go over here. I know the light's not quite as good, but there you go. It's only about 3:30, so it hasn't been super long, but I figured I would get out here while we still have some daylight. Yes, there's a long drop out that door, so until we get the deck replaced, that's the new addition. Dun, dun, dun. It's not new anymore, really. So here you have it. Yeah, drag lines, like it just looks a little dry, that's all. Alright, I will be back tonight. We'll wrap this one up. 1:28 a.m. Yes, I should be in bed. That kind of puts us near the 12-hour mark, doesn't it? Let's take a look at how the Beauty Pie Everyday Foundation held up. The good news is it's very comfortable and I almost went to bed without filming this. The other good news is that it hasn't changed much since I applied it. So the areas that looked heavy still look heavy, but they don't really look worse. It has broken up just a little bit in a couple of areas that wasn't there when we started this, but for the most part it has worn pretty identically to the way it applied all the way through this 12-hour day. And it has been a day. I just finished the first draft of my application for promotion to full professor, which is due right after I get back from the Jamaica trip I'm about to go on. So now that my first draft is done, I can relax a bit on this trip. I just gave Daffy her final dose of her antibiotic. Fingers crossed that we are done with this kidney infection that she had. And, well, that's it, but it took all day, so... So I'm tired, man. I'm tired. It's been a day. It's been a lot of thinking. My brain is tired. So, it's been a long one, and it has held up pretty well. So, here's my thoughts in that arena. If you're a person that this is going to apply beautifully on, it's gonna wear like the dickens. It's gonna hold out and be great. For me, it didn't apply perfectly. It didn't apply terribly. You know, I'd call it average-ish, you know, for a matte full coverage foundation on a dry-skinned, maturing-skinned person. So I have to grade it based on dry skin and maturing skin because that's what I do. However, I will say that if this works better for you than it did for me, then I have a feeling it'll work really well because it really stayed put and true to how it applied initially all throughout. So let's zoom in. Let me show you guys what's going on. Anywhere I've got movement lines like my Meredith Grey wrinkle, my smile lines, my deepest chin line, it has just either broken apart or settled into those areas. I did have to blow my nose a lot today, so ignore any missing coverage there around my nostrils. My nose still has that polka dot pore sort of cakiness going on. That was there since the beginning. Blush bronzer highlights stayed very well intact, although that little bit of like cakiness on the one side of my face is still there like it was when it was applied. My forehead still looks surprisingly good. So not much has changed since I applied it, and that's I guess a good thing as far as, you know, you get what you see is what you get with this one. And For me, with dry skin, maturing skin, I don't think that it has dried my skin out anymore from when I initially applied it. I just think it looks a little bit cakey in some spots. The dryness sort of alleviated a couple hours in as it sort of melted together with everything, and the finish is a little bit more luminous than we started out. It was more matte when we started. So for me, I think that's good. For someone that wants to maintain a true matte the whole day, and considering I'm not someone that produces a lot of oil in my skin, then maybe that would be an issue for you. But for dry skin, maturing skin, I am going to go B- on this one. I was thinking in the C range for most of the day, but seeing that it really held up well, true to what it started as anyway, over a 12-hour span, I'm going to give it a little bit of credit for that. So we're going to go B- on the beauty pie. There you have it. Another episode of Foundation Fest is in the books. If you like foundation reviews, if you had fun with this one, please give me a thumbs up down below. Check me out on Patreon if you want some behind the scenes access. Goldfish tier gets a monthly gift from me. Link is in the description box. And as always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.